The first embargo is 3:30. The second embargo is 10:30 on the 26th of December. We'll start with Ivan Gastel.
Yeah, hi. Nice to see you, Ralf. I guess the obvious place to start is where everybody's focus is at the moment. And what's the current situation for you and your squad with regard to the current COVID situation? Could you update us?
Yes, as you know, we had last week the last training session on Thursday. On that day, we had 8 field players and 3 goalkeepers. And then we closed down the training ground for 4 days in order to stop and to break the chain. And today was the 3rd day of training this week. We started on Tuesday, then we trained yesterday and today. And today we had 25 field players. So quite apart from Paul Pogba, he's the only one who's still missing out. Everybody was on board. So yeah, the development in the last week was extremely positive.
So would you feel you're in good shape for that next fixture? You've got a couple more days, of course, till Monday and the trip to Newcastle.
Yes, we will train tomorrow. Then there will be a day off for the players on Christmas Day. And then we have the last training session here on Sunday, and we'll fly Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening to Newcastle.
Hi, Ralf. There's been a lot of talk, you'll no doubt be aware, about the players and the player welfare and 5 substitutes and various ways of helping the players over this period. What do you think about what should happen? What is your view as someone relatively new to English football?
Well, as far as I remember, the 4 substitutes were implemented, or it was decided that every team could substitute 5 players when COVID started 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago. And I think it was the right decision to do that, to have more options to change players, to save energy for players, especially if they have only just recovered from COVID. And the same is true right now. So we have let's put it that way, a similar situation to the one that we had 1.5 years ago. And therefore, I wouldn't see any reason why it shouldn't be as it was 1.5 years ago. And as far as I know, in Europe, England is the only country where they only allow 3 subs. In all other leagues, in the 4 big leagues, in the other 4 big leagues in Europe, you can substitute 5 players. And on the other hand, you're still allowed to have 8 field players on the team sheet. And if you have 8 field players on the team sheet, you should also be able to replace 5, because if you only can replace 3 of them, you will always have 5 players on the bench who cannot be substituted or cannot play.
Obviously, you've only just come to England, but what is your view of having to play a game on the 26th? I know you're playing on the 27th, but other teams will play 2 days after, then 3 days after that. Do you think that something should have been done with the calendar at this moment to clear some space to try and help the teams? Because although you're okay, there's more games going to be off or already being called off on Boxing Day.
I mean, you know that better than I do, what a big tradition that this is in England, to play Boxing Day, to play on the 27th, even on the 30th, or then on the 2nd of January. This is a big tradition, and I think we should stick to and respect this tradition. I'm looking forward to that. For me, it will be the first time in my coaching career that I will be part of that. But I think there might be 2 or 3 other issues that could be discussed, and I know that have been discussed in the past. I think England is the only country, again, in the top 5 leagues in Europe that plays two cup competitions. And even France, I think they abolished the second one a year or 2 ago. So currently we are the only country who plays 2 cup competitions. This is something maybe we could once again speak about and discuss. I know the reason for that. I mean, the former League Cup, who is now the Carabao Cup, has been still kept for the third and fourth division teams, especially to improve the financial situations of those clubs. But I still think if we speak about a tight calendar and maybe having to play too many games, this could be something where we could speak and discuss. The other issue, I think there has been a change now in the last 2 weeks, is in the FA Cup after a draw that you have to have a replay after a draw. This has been changed now. I think this is also a good idea. Again, in other countries, in cup competitions, you play extra time and penalties, so you never have that replay situation. So those might be issues and topics that you could speak about.
Afternoon, Ralf. Just picking up again with sort of this week, just how challenging has it been to prepare a side? Yes, you've had a break, but you've come back staggered. You've had a break. Just how challenging has it been to get everyone back into the training ground this week? And ultimately for the Newcastle game, you say 25 players have field players have trained, but what is the availability for the Newcastle game?
Well, as far as I could see today in training, they're all in good shape. All the players, they did their homework. They all had their schedule to train at home, and all of them just they stick to that schedule and to that program. So from what I saw today in training, I can say most of them, if not all of them, might be available. And of course, I would have to take some difficult decisions: who will be in the squad, who will be in the starting 11.
And rather obviously the managers and the Premier League met earlier this week. The shareholders, the managers, and the players are due to meet either later today. We understand. Just what are you hoping to hear? And perhaps talking to some of your senior players, your senior group of players, what are they hoping to hear with regards to what Simon was talking earlier on about, the player welfare, the substitutes, just managing players' time during this period? What would you be hoping to hear?
Well, I think most of the things we have already spoken about. I think it would be of great help to have 5 substitutes. This would also increase and improve the situation, the emotional situation within the squad, because it's a big difference if you can give 5 players game time. It's also about game time, and therefore I would be much more in favor of having 5 subs. As I said, in other countries they do that, and I think we should seriously think about that once again. And I haven't spoken with my players about that, but I don't need to, because I know that most of the players would be in favor of that. Yes, and apart from that, I think, the Premier League will try everything to keep the league safe, to keep the situation around the players safe. The club, and we do that regularly, have to encourage players to behave in a disciplined way with regard to contacts. We also need to make sure that we have most of the players vaccinated. As far as I know, we have a high record of vaccinated players here in our club. But still, I mean, the past 2 weeks show that even if you are being vaccinated 2 or 3 times, you can still be catching the virus, especially the new virus. So you're not being protected, but at least you are being protected from severe symptoms. And as far as I know, most of our players who were tested positive, at least they had very, very weak symptoms, and they didn't suffer from that.
Well, Joseph, what a party.
Yeah, it was a great victory for the players, the fans, and everyone.
What do you think about your performance?
I think it was good, and each game it keeps getting better.
We need this match, no, with 3 goals.
Yeah, it was really great because we fought hard for this victory, and everyone deserved to be happy.
Bueno, es el mejor partido de la temporada en lo que va de liga, ¿no?
No sé si el mejor, pero sí el que hemos sabido jugar con el marcador a nuestro favor, que nos estaba costando mucho, y sobre todo felices por ganar en casa, porque nos estaba costando muchísimo. Desde que hay público en el estadio solo habíamos ganado un partido de no sé cuántos, o sea que hoy el partido creo que era fundamental porque nos ponemos también a 3 puntos del Español, que es un rival directo, para alejarnos de abajo, para irnos tranquilos de vacaciones y pensar en lo que viene.
Con el partido contra el Valencia también nos ponemos por delante, pero el Chacho se quejaba, ¿no? Un poco que nos había faltado controlar el partido, y es lo que tú dices, ¿no? Se ha conseguido.
Bueno, sobre todo hoy no hemos tenido errores individuales que nos pagaron contra el Valencia, Creo que es un partido para sacar conclusiones positivas. Hemos vuelto a ganar en casa, tenemos que hacernos fuertes aquí de lo que queda de temporada, porque fuera de casa sí el equipo está respondiendo bien y tenemos que seguir esta línea.
Cuéntame el gol, ¿no? Porque ha sido una jugada rápida, pero cuando te ha llegado ha sido como mucha pausa, las pican. ¿Cómo ha sido?
Bueno, recibo de Hugo, controlo y normalmente Diego López suele salir a tapar. Veo muchos partidos y Diego López en los 1 para 1 suele salir a tapar, entonces yo controlo y él no ve lo que voy a hacer, entonces intento picársela un poquito y cruzársela con tranquilidad.
¿Cómo ya tocaba?
Tocaba, pero ahora mismo sentimos una alegría inmensa, ya no solo por el partido, sino estamos trabajando como el que más, estamos en el día a día muy sacrificados, con los pies en la tierra, con humildad, y al final somos una piña y hoy nos lo merecíamos y se lo merecía también la afición, que pues mira, no estamos ganando, no nos están saliendo los partidos en casa y aún así la afición cree en nosotros, nos apoya y nos transmite el cariño día a día.
Eso te iba a decir, has dicho que sois una piña equipo, pero la afición también. Hemos visto ese momento tan bonito ahí en la esquina.
Sí, sabemos que le debemos mucho a esta afición, no solo de esta temporada, sino que por desgracia hemos vivido un par de temporadas muy jodidas sobre todo a nivel mental, muy difíciles de sacar, y las hemos sacado esas temporadas gracias al apoyo de ellos. En otra situación, en otro equipo, la afición lo dejaría de lado, y aquí cuanto peor iban las cosas, más estaban con uno y con el equipo. Y eso es de agradecer y se lo agradeceremos hoy, mañana y en un futuro.
En lo personal, vuelves después de varias semanas que parecía que sí, pero al final no, 90 minutos con asistencia.
La verdad que bueno, no estoy al 100%, pero creo que he podido ayudar al equipo. Venía de mucho tiempo parado, unos problemas que no se me daban ido. Entrenaba, tenía que volver a parar, volví a aparecer, volví a parar. Bueno, espero que ahora sea el fin de esta lesión del carajo, porque ya estoy frito, y que pueda ayudar y contribuir al equipo.
Saca 2001, 2022.
Por el 2022 a tope. Tenemos que seguir con los pies en la tierra, saber quiénes somos, de dónde venimos, y con esta afición, con el equipo, con el compañerismo y el sacrificio. No quiero ser pesado, pero creo que son las claves para mirar hacia adelante en un futuro.
Gracias, Hugo.
Gracias a vosotros.
Gracias, Hugo.